Today, everybody, we are going to be applying what's called the properties of logarithms. Yes, we're going to be doing problem number 11 in your journal right now. Now, first number that I'm going to highlight as I scan through this problem, I'm going to highlight number 3, which is right directly in front of this log. So what I'm going to do with 3 is I'm going to move it back up right above this 6, where it's saying 6 cubed. So in my very first process, I'm going to write log base 4 of 6 to the power of 3 minus log of 8 equals log 4 of x. So right now, in case you're wondering, I want to make sure you understand which property is being used right now. I'm using the power property. Now the power property is cool because you can go backwards or forwards. You can bring it down or you can put it back up. You can put it back up or you can bring it down. Kind of cool. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is a little arrow right here. And that little minus sign lets me now know I have the quotient property in play. The quotient property is in play. So let's review the quotient property, shall we? We shall. All right. I like the enthusiasm. All right. So right now you're going to put log.
We shall.
No, you already said it. It's too late now.
I forgot.
All right. You're a day late and $1 short, people. All right, how about this? The early bird gets, thank you, the weren't very good. The squeaky wheel gets
The oil.
the grease. Yeah. Okay. So right now, I've rewritten the quotient property. All right? The quotient property means that if you have a logarithm of the same base, all right, and you are taking them away, that's the same as those two letters being divided. So right now, I'm going to highlight this in one color and this in another color, and let you see, hopefully, how they work together. So right now, what is our base? Our base is the base 4. What is our value for n? 6 cubed, right? 6 to the third, 6 cubed. What is our value for n? And that is going to equal log 4 of x, right here. That's what it's going to equal. Huh, wait a second. So all you're telling me is that 6 cubed divided by 8 is going to equal what x is. Now, how do we know that? What's the property if these bases are equal? This is called the property of equality. Equal. If these bases are the same, then whatever's inside here has to equal to whatever's inside there. So 6 times 6 times 6, that's 216. 216 divided by 8 is the number 27. Therefore, your final answer for problem number 11 is 27. So as you guys are writing this down, we're going to review what we did. First thing that I did. Let's review. First thing I did, took the 3, moved it up there. Made it what? Made it 6 cubed. Okay? Then, I used the quotient property. I put the 6 cubed divided by 8 right here. Then, I evaluated 6 cubed divided by 8 and got the number 27, which is your final answer. Now, that's just one problem. That's not going to show you everything.
First thing I'm going to do in problem number 12 is once again I'm going to highlight this half. And I'm going to move him from there right up here. So, what property is this once again, everybody? The power, that's right, because you guys have the power. What's this right? I've got the power to always tell. Now, here's what I want you to do right now. Write log 6, open parentheses, 25. Raise that sucker to the power of a half. Close the parentheses. Plus log 6 x equals log 6 of 20. That's the first step right there. All right, next thing you should notice is this plus sign. This plus sign is not the quotient property. The plus sign is dealing with the product property. Now I'm going to rewrite the product property for everybody to see. This log plus this log is going to equal a logarithm where the m value and the n value are being multiplied together. So I'm going to highlight in blue this part and in purple that part. Blue. There we go. So right now I'm going to rewrite this as log base 6. Open parentheses, I have a 25 to the 1/2 power times the value of x equals log base 6 of 20. And hopefully you can see that all I've done is simply multiply 25 to the power of 1/2 times the value of x. All right, something that you need to remember for the rest of your life is this. Anytime you take something and you raise it to the power of 1/2, that means you're taking the square root of that number. This is a pretty common fraction. If it's a rational exponent right here, if you see 1/2, that just means it's going to be the square root of whatever that number is. So what is the square root of 25? Just the number 5. We have log 6. What does 25 to the 1/2 evaluate to? 5 times x equals log 6, 20. And now your brain should have this happy smile on its face at the end. Smile. Because 5x is going to equal this number, because you'll notice the bases are the same. So once you get it to this part right here, that's when it gets really, really, really easy. Because everybody knows that 5 times x equals 20, x would have to equal the number 4. And that's your final answer. For number 12. All right, moving on. We're going to go a little bit faster now. We're going to start with number 13 and work through this super, super fast. Good luck. All right, first thing I'm going to do in this problem is put a little arrow pointing at this minus sign, and I'm just going to write the word quotient. We're dealing with the quotient property. So to rewrite this using the quotient property, all right, you're going to write log 2 open parentheses, and you're going to make a fraction out of this number and this number. Which number is going to be on top? 4. What number is going to be on the bottom? X plus 3. So right here, in the numerator, put the 4. In the denominator, put the x plus 3, and set it equal to log base 2 of 8. Now, once again, what do you notice about these bases? They're exactly the same. Which means, if these bases are the same, you can be confident that 4 divided by x plus 3 is going to equal 8 over the number. Why did I set it up this way? Right, so you could do your proportion, cross multiply, right? It's a little bit easier. We have a 4 times 1, which is just the number 4. And then we have 8 times the sum of x and 3. So right now, by the way, I'm not going to finish this problem for you. I want you guys to solve for x. This is an Algebra 1 problem. You should be able to solve for x. Yes, you have to distribute, okay, first. You should be able to solve for x. All right, if you pause the video, now you'll check to see if you got it right. Wait a second, I thought you said you weren't going to do it. Well, 8x equals negative 20. And when you divide both sides by 8, x equals negative 20 over 8, which reduces to negative 5 over 2. But most students put negative 2.5. So either one of these is okay. I speak both fraction and decimal. All right. And that number would actually work if you took it and plugged it in. A negative 2.5 would work if you were to plug it in right, not there, right there. Okay? If I took that right there and I plugged in a negative 2.5, what would this evaluate to? This would evaluate to a what? To a half. Well, what is 4, everybody, divided by a half end up becoming? The number 8. If you take the number 4 and you divide it by a half, there are 8 halves within the number 4. So all right, and since Austin asked, we're going to do problem number 15. All right? So, does anybody want to tell me what I'm first going to do on problem number 15, our last problem we're doing right now? That's right, Bailey, we're going to do 2. You don't have to do the sound effects, but if it makes you have a little bit more fun, feel free. Except for blue. No sound effects. All right. So now you have log basic of x plus 1 being equals log 4 parentheses 11 minus x. Hey, sweet! That's a 4. That's a 4. That means all of this guy right here has to equal all of this guy right there. All right, so what we need to do is we need to set x plus 1 squared equal to 11 minus x. Now, you could use the FOIL method, but we're not going to because we're better than that. We're just going to do it the fast way. We're going to say it's x squared. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. So all you got to do is take that number, add it to itself to get the middle number, multiply it to itself to get the last number. That's what you can always do when you have what's called a sum of squares. This is a sum of squares. Add the number to itself, get you the middle, multiply it to itself, get you the last. Equals 11 minus x. Now, everybody, this little tiny 2 right here lets you know you're dealing with what type of equation? Quadratic, which means you can set everything equal to 0. You guys have learned so much this year. Take away 11 from both sides. Add in x. Both sides. All of this over here has been zeroed out now. We have an x squared, everybody. We have a total of 3 x's. We have a total of negative 10 as a constant. Now, whenever you guys write this down, the first question that needs to pop into your brain is, can I factor this guy? All right? So, we're going to try to factor it. You know that if it's factorable, that's got to be an x, that's got to be an x. And once again, because we're doing a video, I'm going to let you know the process of how to factor these. You are searching for 2 numbers that add up together to equal this 3. And the same 2 numbers, when multiplied together, equal a negative 10. And the two numbers that work are, Austin? 5 and -2, 5 and -2. Those numbers work. So I'm going to put a +5 and a -2. Now these are the factors. It's not our final answer. Our final answer is what number, when plugged in, would make this added to 5 equal a 0. And that would be a. And what number would I have to plug in here to make this equal to 0? 2. So you'd say our solution set is a -5 and a 2. But wait, do they both work? So what we have to do is we got to take these answers and do what with them? Okay, moving on. All right, let's move on. -5 and a 2, -5 and a 2, -5 and a 2. Plug in -5 or a 2. If I plug in a -5, what's this going to evaluate to? That's not good. This number can't be a negative, okay? But if I plug in a 2 here and a 2 there, that will work. Watch. If I put 2 log 4 and I plug in a 2, that becomes a what? 3. This is log 4. 11 minus 2 is a 9. You're like, that's not equal, but it sure is if you take that 2 and do what? Square the 3, then it works. Okay? Those are the this is the final question that we're going to be working on together. So which are the 3 properties that we have to know how to use? Quotient, power, product. All right? And then you check it, make sure you plug it back in and make sure it works. All right? So your final answer, everybody, for the last problem, the final answer was not a -5 and a 2. Cross it off. This answer would be considered what? Extraneous. It's just what? Just the number 2 is the only one that works. Have a wonderful day. Do some math.